Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. My name is Brad Walrod, and welcome to the first meditation in a series exploring starseed traits, which we will define in a moment. Hello to the folks that are joining me live in the Become What You Believe group on Facebook, and also to all those who are watching the recording later on in the group, as well as on YouTube, which we'll get in a couple of hours later. We're going to start today with a little bit of a breathing exercise. Now let me talk about it before you try it. I'll describe it from beginning to end, and then we'll do it 3 times together. I'm about to describe a breathing exercise, and then when I finish describing it, we'll do it all together. Okay? So basically, it's all through your nose. You're going to start by extending your stomach to allow the diaphragm to drop down. And we're going to take a number of rapid inhalations like this. Just watch, like this. Take as many of those as you need to fill your lungs. You'll know when they're full. You want to hold for a comfortable amount of counts. Could be 2 for you, or 4 or 5 for you. And then after holding, not straining, you'll slowly exhale through your nose. And this time you're going to pull your stomach in and push the diaphragm up, so you completely empty your lungs. Okay, so let's try to do that all together. Don't strain yourself, don't go overboard. Just enjoy the oxygenation of the blood and hopefully the relaxation of the muscles and the mind while we're doing this. So, rapid breaths in. No, wait, extend the stomach so the diaphragm can drop down. Now, rapid in breaths. Until the lungs are full. Now hold a couple of counts. And then pushing the stomach in. Exhale, completely clearing out the lungs. And again, hold for a couple of counts. Now we'll do steps 2 and 3 without all the talk. I feel called to do a 4th one. You might still be working on your 3rd. So this is just a little way to start relaxing, oxygenating before a meditation. I've decided I want my microphone higher. So, I think it's important that we start by, and you can go ahead and close your eyes now. We'll be defining some terms, but the energy should already be well along. It might be easier for you to feel it with your eyes closed. We're going to be talking about star seeds this year. And a star seed is defined in various ways, but in general, someone who was born in the past, many times, off-world. So, it could be in the solar system or out of the solar system, in this galaxy or out of this galaxy. Some restrict the definition to people that were always born off-world and are only here on Earth for the first time in this incarnation. I think starseeds have been around long enough. They might have had a previous life here on Earth and are back for more. But the key ingredient is wherever you came from, you made a conscious decision to join us here on Earth. Some also believe that a starseed was always a Pleiadian, or always a Sirian, or always an Andromedan. I think the universe is vast and time unlimited enough that a lot of us have probably experimented on a number of different planets and a number of different star systems, but that we were off-world and we're now on Earth. The star part of the name makes sense already from that definition. Seed can be interpreted as joining us here on Earth to seed, to attempt to help our growth, our ascension, to plant that seed. And there's another phrase, another term, another name. It's called forerunner. Forerunner is usually defined as someone who has not been born off-world, but has had lots of lives here on Earth, in which they've grown spiritually and are now incarnated such that they can be a leader, they can help along folks on the ascension path. They may have a distinct title such as teacher or guru or group leader, but they might also just be influencing those around them by example. I don't personally think it's important to define yourself as either a starseed or a forerunner. I have a strong feeling, though, that if you're watching this video, if you're participating in this meditation, that you are one or the other. Because, frankly, why else would you have been interested in this at all? In both cases, starseeds and forerunners are going to be helping along humanity on their ascension path. In this meditation, we'll be concentrating on Pleiadian starseeds and their traits. Pleiades is actually not just one sun, far from it. Many people refer to the Pleiades as the seven sisters, as the seven brightest stars in that cluster are well known. They all have Greek god-daughter names. People are familiar with Maya and Electra. Alcyone is the brightest. It gets a lot of press. But the Pleiades are actually a cluster of up to 1,000 stars. They're also some of the closest of the starseed races we will be exploring, in the neighborhood of 440 some light years from our sun, and are said to be one of the younger races that are here to help us compared to some of the other more ancient ones. When we discuss the traits of a Pleiadian starseed, I would not be surprised if many recognize some strongly resonate with certain ones, but not all of them. Or they might all sound familiar, but you're going to be attracted to one or two or three or four most strongly. That could certainly mean you're a Pleiadian starseed and your own personality just leans towards certain aspects more than others. It could also mean that it's a sign of your having multiple starseed backgrounds. And over the course of our months, we're going to see some crossover traits that may be the same for Pleiadian and Assyrian, the same as Assyrian and an Andromedan. So that might be why you recognize some traits more than others. And it could be that you're just such a mixture that you've taken certain traits from one and other traits from another. And that's how you've mixed it together for your incarnation here on Earth. But whether you come away today thinking that you're a Pleiadian starseed, I believe the traits and how they can affect and be used in your sadhana, your spiritual path, and how you might use them to relate to others in or outside your home or at work. You can see them as a useful tool to smooth things out in life and to understand others who perhaps show these traits equally strongly as you or far stronger. So even if you enter sure you're an Arcturian, you may benefit from hearing of the Pleiadian traits. Some of the other starseed races we will hopefully explore this year besides Pleiadian or Syrian, Arcturian, Andromedan, Antarian from Antares, Lyran, Orion, and perhaps Venusian. So, lots of variety, and a lot of traits to look forward to. If you go searching for traits of a particular starseed race, you're going to find lists of varying lengths. I was most attracted to a concise list of 7 traits, but I've seen and posted some that have more like 20. Not only was that a bit much for one presentation, but there was quite a bit of overlap, and these 7 really seem to drill down to the core values. Also, some lists include physical attributes, like you need to be tall and thin and blonde or whatever to be a Pleiadian starseed, and I dispute that entirely. I think you can have that as your decision if you are, pure through and through a Pleiadian and want to present yourself that way on Earth. There are body types that you can become while you're here, but throughout you'll hear me counsel against being too restrictive. If you're reading something that says this starseed has to look like this, has to act like this, can only have been born once, can only have been born on the Pleiades, well, if that's exactly how you feel and the way you resonate and you want to explore that, that's definitely valid. But I'm always leery of too much restrictions in definitions like that. I think the world is far too malleable, I guess. Okay. So our first trait that we'll discuss today is that a Pleiadian starseed tends to view all of life on a spectrum rather than always black and white. Viewing life on a spectrum rather than all black and white. For those who recognize that immediately as part of themselves, I dare say it was how you were gently informed of the spiritual path. I'm sure you can envision others that it's all black and white, but your exploration of it seems like things are more complex. There are more possibilities. Would show that to be a trait very beneficial to your spiritual path. And the same goes outside, in public, at work. You recognize others that can view concepts and problems and issues and come up with solutions that are outside the box, and may have experienced frustration with those who seem incapable of going beyond black and white. But this is a powerful trait to have, both spiritually and in the mundane world. As we talk about each trait, really feel into it, absorb it, evaluate it, but not necessarily mentally right this second. Bring it into your heart, perhaps more than your head, and some of these into your gut. The next trait is that you may often, I have to smile, grow up feeling like the black sheep of your family. Maybe because you don't see things in black and white. The Catholic Mass or other Christian or Hindu celebrations, Jewish, Buddhists, all can seem like something you would chafe against. I dare say many of us recognize this trait of being the black sheep. Again, will actually create freedom for you, freedom from the family that just can't understand you anyways. So why not move into an ashram for a couple of years, freak out mom and dad, that's for sure. In a work environment, this might sound like it could be a negative trait, but quite frankly, being the black sheep might put you on a faster track. Not so much to be the boss or the youngest vice president, but more toward having the job that actually suits the rest of your abilities and makes you happier than a cubicle. Just breathe into that one. If you have any residual guilt for being the black sheep, I invite you to release that now. Pleiadian starseeds tend to be highly intuitive, sensitive, and empathic. You can immediately see how that would help with your sadhana. intuitive, sensitive, empathic, all the different resources out there. How do you pick a path? You don't have to pick someone else's path. You're following the one that you know intuitively to be good for you. You can feel it. You're sensitive to it. And the empathy can help you relate to others on the path, knowing perhaps who to suggest a certain meditation or a certain practice to, because you're aware more than most. Of what's available and what will resonate with someone, especially just starting out. While these three, the intuitive, sensitive, and empathic, certainly can get you through an office job, here I would mention all of the possibilities for Reiki, healing, massage therapy, any kind of calling that lets you help others, read others, respond to their needs. This trait really strengthens, reinforces, leads you to one of those types of careers. Find that you're also naturally drawn to humanitarian affairs. It would be hard not to if you're intuitive and sensitive and empathic. You're going to feel those things, but here we're saying you're going to act on them. You could be signing petitions, you could be carrying petitions, you could be volunteering for the Peace Corps, you can be planting trees, although there's a natural world one later also. You may be practicing, and without even knowing the name, ahimsa, which is non-violence. I'm sure it sometimes hurts when you see the news. But let it call you to action. Not everyone can be in the Peace Corps, but maybe you can write letters for Amnesty International. Not everyone can write letters, but maybe you've got a few bucks you can give them. And these feelings of humanitarianism put you in positions outside of your practice, if anything is truly outside of your practice after a while, where you're helping strangers or acquaintances or friends in tough situations. But you're the one to step up and speak out. You would really not understand it if you didn't. The next one is 2 words, which makes me smile. People pleasers. I pause to give you a chance to reflect on whether that immediately gave you a negative feeling to be a people pleaser. But I'm here to say it can be quite positive. Now, in your practice, you're the people, so there's certainly no problem evaluating what pleases you. There's so many different types of meditations and so many different recordings that you can just dive in and find out what your favorites are and explore new ones every week. Start to lead meditations, get together with a group locally or online. And I know you could see people pleasers as a negative in a job or office situation, but I'm going to say that it's actually amazing the strength you have in your ability to understand what pleases people. Imagine being in a confrontation or just a negotiation, and others are butting heads and only see their side, and you can take one look at the situation and you can see, well, I know what would make him happy, and I know what would make her happy. And you can again drill down and find a compromise that makes neither or none of the parties terribly unhappy and all somewhat satisfied. Because you can see that not everybody can. You can take one look and say, oh, yeah, I know what she needs. I know what would calm him down. So people pleaser, yeah, if you are just doing sacrificing and not keeping a healthy boundary, sure, that could feel uncomfortable, but it's so much more can be yours if you incorporate this trait and explore it, nurture it. You may find that you possess natural healing and nurturing abilities. Of course, in your own practice, useful, working on your own physical pains or your inner child, those wounds. You know you've seen people that are just reliving their childhood, and they will continue to do so for the rest of their lives. But you're able to heal yourself and nurture your inner child, and also bring those traits out to others, whether or not it's actually a healing practice that you have. Once incorporated deeply into yourself, just walking into a room will help to heal and nurture others. You don't even have to consciously know what you're doing. This is a powerful trait. And Pleiadian starseeds tend to be lovers of the natural world. Whether or not you're blessed with being able to meditate outdoors in nature, by a creek or in the woods, you're able to envision that, to visualize those scenarios and feel it just as strongly as if you're outside. And when outside, you're going to be especially strong advocate for the trees and the animals. Working against things that pollute, but I'd rather reword that to working for things that don't pollute, giving people better options that are safer and cleaner and raise the vibration. Really, in all of these traits, it comes down to your ability to raise your own vibration and help others who are welcoming, who are open. To this energy. As we sit for a few minutes to just listen to the music, let's contemplate the traits we've discussed, but maybe not thinking them to death, rather feeling them, or just feeling the overall atmosphere you've experienced. Reinforce it for your own practice and happily share with all others present in real time or in the quantum who are doing this with us. In this sitting, we have explored several traits, both to help decide whether they point to our being a Pleiadian starseed, but also to understand these traits in others when we now see and recognize them, and whether or not we've found our starseed background. We've got traits that we can incorporate into our practice and into our outside world as we see fit. And of course, we've been able to sit and enjoy each other's energies. I hope you found this interesting and enjoyable, and you can expect we'll return with another race. I'm leaning towards Syrian, but I want to leave my options open somewhere middle of February. Meantime, there's plenty out there to read about the various starseed races, and all the time in the world to practice, both personally and in public. For now, with all my love always, namaste.